Thank you, Teresa. Your invitation was most gracious. I thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. Hello, good evening to everyone. I'm happy to be here and share a little bit about what I've learned in my journey. And Teresa invited me. I thought, golly, what can I share? I said, I tell you, my caregiving journey is nothing compared to what I know yours was. There's so many other people. And then I realized that as a pastor in my community, I have spent a lot of time, hundreds of hours walking by side with caregivers, and maybe not being I'm not the primary caregiver, and that's a whole different story and calling and responsibility. But to walk with folks has really allowed me an opportunity and perspective that I think may be helpful, especially as we explore this idea and concept of stress management. And so, with your permission, I would like to have a conversation where I will be sharing a little bit of my own journey, my personal experiences with caregiving, as well as some of the things that I've learned walking with others. So hopefully you'll help me and you will participate. And I'm going to ask if you could begin participating by just putting in the chat, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to be a caregiver? I'm interested in how you would respond to that. What does it mean to be a caregiver?
Oh, yes. Hadn't thought about that.
Being brave, Teresa, something you taught me, doing hard things, love, unconditional love. How about that? If we were to say a word to characterize an extraordinary caregiver, I think we may say selflessness. This is all a part of the journey of caregiving. Our modern day caregivers are modern day heroes, I think. I have a friend who works with the Department of Social Services, and she was explaining to me as I was trying to support another friend who was going through, who was a member of our congregation at that time, and I was trying to support them. And I said, what is the plan when this person's loved one comes home and they will still have a very high amount of needs, a lot of caregiving needs, and everyone in their family is working or in school and doing things. And so, what does this mean? And she said, well, what we do is we just try to stay quiet and see if they can work it out, see if the family can take care of their loved one. And we won't intervene and really try to help until we're absolutely sure the family, or if there's nobody, absolutely nobody else, then we're going to try to use our resources. But otherwise, people tend to find a way to work it out. I'm on a scholarship committee for Morgan State University. And one of the questions we decided to ask on the application is, do you have any other responsibilities that may impact your ability to do volunteer or extracurricular activities? And we were shocked at how many were supporting a caregiving need at home while they're in school full time. So you really can't necessarily look and see or assume who is involved. 1 out of 4 students, Teresa? Is that what you're
One
saying?
out of four persons in the United States, 63 million Americans are family caregivers. You don't
Are,
even know it.
people are involved in taking care of their loved ones. And 63 million, that's a lot of people. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for that. Now that we all know what we're talking about here, I want to share a little bit about my story. I'll tell you a little bit about my journey with caregiving. And then hopefully we'll have some time to talk. We will have some time to talk about stress and why it's important, critically important for us to manage our stress, how to do that, not comprehensively, but some ways that we have found and research has found to be effective in managing stress. And these are things that will help support and strengthen your caregiving journey. All right. Want to just establish upfront that caregiving is sacred work. It takes many forms. You could be tending to a parent or supporting a child, advocating for a loved one, walking with someone through illness or crisis. It can be physical or emotional or spiritual. Or it can be all three of those at the same time. All right. And so when you are supporting a load like that, stress is characteristically woven into that journey. All right. But what matters most is not avoiding stress, because stress is going to happen and stress is a part of the caregiving journey. It just reminds us, the caregiver, that we are human. Okay. But it's learning how to recover from it. How do we recover from stress? All right. For me, my story, I have two major caregiving stories, but I'll share the first one is that my first major season of caregiving came unexpectedly when we made the decision to move my aging mother, here to Maryland from Georgia because she needed more support than my sister could provide at the time. I wasn't prepared to take my mother. The plan was that she would stay with my sister, but life changes, things change, and I wasn't prepared to take her. But it was time, and I had to support my mother and my sister in this way. I attempted at first to care for my mother in my home, but quickly learned that I could not. Her needs were much greater than what I could provide in my home at the time, and it was prohibitive for many reasons for us to bring someone in. It was just a lot. So my caregiving category would be that of being responsible for overseeing her care, her well-being, her safety, and I called it her soul care. Okay, taking care of her soul, her mind, her will, and her emotions. When I think about that, there's one moment that comes to mind as my mother she had a stroke in her 70s. And as a result of that, she had vascular dementia. And sometimes, as a result of having vascular dementia, she just couldn't put the mind and body together. So she wanted to stand up or sit down or get into the car or get out of the car, but she just couldn't move. She couldn't put it together. And I just remember this one time in particular that I had made an appointment with a specialist. We waited about 3 or 4 months for this appointment. But it's okay. I was sure we were going to make the appointment because I got to my mother's house. She lived in an assisted living around the corner from me. I got there 2 hours early to get her, make sure she was all ready and just good to go. But even with me getting the 2 hours early, she couldn't put it together to get into the van. She couldn't do it. Mom, I need you to bend your knees. And some of you all know what I'm talking about. I need you to lower your head. I need your arm to switch. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. I'm telling you. And I was very emotional, but I wasn't in tears, but my mother could sense I was very emotional. And something she said, I will not ever forget, I don't think, because she started laughing. I said, Mom, this is not funny. It took us months to get this appointment, and we're not going to be able to make it to the appointment. And she was laughing so hard when she finally could pull herself together. She looked at me and said, you know what? This won't last forever. I said, Mom, I feel like it's lasting forever. But in hindsight, well, I thought she meant this moment right here of us struggling for me to get into the car won't last forever. This moment of frustration, this moment of struggle is not going to last forever. That's what I thought she said. But what she really meant was the whole thing, the big picture, the whole thing, the assignment, this time that we had together. She was reminding me, you're not going to always have this chance. We're not going to always have these opportunities to be together, even though this is a frustrating moment. Mm-hmm. So in hindsight, I realize now that she was just trying to teach me probably the most important lesson that she ever taught me before, and that was to enjoy the journey and be fully present for all of it, even the part that is frustrating, and find a way to be thankful for it. Find what's beautiful in it and be thankful. Be grateful for the opportunity that we have together. Later on, as she got on in age, she ended up staying here in my care for about 5 years before she transitioned. But it had become our pattern to sit for about an hour before dinner on the porch. And so I had gotten to the point where no matter what was happening in my work and my life, my community, my family, whatever, everyone knew at about 4:30, I would slip away so that I could be with my mother sitting on that porch at 4:30, between 4:30 and 5:30 when dinner would be served. And after she passed, I had this dream. I had a very vivid dream. And I remember thinking how much I missed my mom and how I would miss her so much at 4:30 and how 4:30 had become so sacred to me. And I would remember her saying, this won't last forever. This is actually, might seem like it's a long time, but it's a temporary assignment. And so don't miss the opportunity that we have right now. But I had this dream, and in the dream, I was reminded that that time was so precious and that would still be our time. So to this day, between 4:30 and 5:30, that's my quiet time. That's my time that I remember, not just my mom, but other loved ones who are no longer here with us. I remember some of the conversations that we had. I remember lessons that I learned, moments of personal reckoning and struggling and wrestling through some of the things that really caused me a lot of growth during the time that I was so blessed and honored to be able to support my mother as her caregiver and having assumed the responsibility for her care and well-being. It wasn't easy. It was stressful. It was financially demanding. It was physically exhausting. but it was deeply spiritual and it changed me forever. Okay.
Amen.
Amen. Now, the second caregiving story I have was with my brother. I was very close to my brother. We were just right next to each other in the 5 children my parents had. My brother was the third born, and I was the fourth born. He lived not far from me in this area. And so we were very close. As a matter of fact, I came to this area because he was here. But my brother became suddenly ill. And if you're familiar with brain tumors, he had a glioma. It was a very serious brain tumor. And the doctors really, they fought valiantly, but they said even the most valiant medical journey has not been successful. So we don't want to give you false hope. Your brother, even though he's only 46 years old, he's probably not going to survive this. We're going to fight. We'll do the best we can. We'll use radiation. We'll do all that we can. But there are no satisfactory results on the books anywhere in the country. Of course, my faith, I was just thinking that's not going to really matter for me. But because we know that anything can happen, miracles could happen, all of that. And we discovered this. It was an episode. We thought he would only barely live through the night, but we had 10 months. So during that 10 months, because of proximity, I moved to the area because my brother was here and I knew he would take care of me, but I ended up taking care of him. Okay. It was tough. Waves of cortisol would just come as the doctors would say, we need to talk to you. We need to talk to you. And some of you know what I'm talking about when you're not getting great news all the time. So we're trying to make this adjustment. And there was one time in particular that I can remember. It was like my mother's "this won't last always" moment. But for him, they were at my house. My brother was in the basement watching TV, a football game or something like that. I don't know. The whole family was here though, and we were upstairs having a very serious conversation. And all of a sudden, I could hear him saying, calling my name, Suzanne, Suzanne, come downstairs, come down. I need you, all of y'all, come here right now. And we thought, is he okay? So we just stopped the conversation mid sentence, and everybody went downstairs to check on him. And we all got down there, and it was very quiet. He was looking at us, and then he just started laughing. He just started cracking up, like laughing. And we're like, there's nothing funny right here. We're just getting this news, and you don't know we're fighting for your life. And thinking about the diagnosis, the prognosis, all the unknowns. But in the middle of that fear and all that intensity, my brother started laughing. He says, come on, you all, you know what? I love you. Let's not waste this time. It's something about the place that this brain tumor was located. It was like, it caused him to just, it was like it tickled his funny bone. He just had humor and humorous perspective of things. But the joy, the laughter, the love, it carried us through so many difficult times. It lifted the weight enough so that we could breathe. And so what I learned from our time with my brother, and that is the moment that kind of my mind goes to, but there were so many moments like that where he lightened the load with humor, is that caregiving includes joy also. These unexpected moments of connection and of love and of presence are a gift. And that's what I learned from him. And I watched those lessons play out again and again in the lives of our congregation members and people who were suddenly tasked with the responsibility. Some were in a position where they could get help and others were not. Some, their whole life had to change because of the particular person. And if it was a spouse or an aging parent or a child, it changed everything. But they found those moments of love and laughter and lightness to help carry them through the difficult moments. And over, I would say about 35 years, as I've pastored people through illness and grief and crisis and divorce, financial struggles, all kinds of things that life brings, I have supported caregivers also who were standing with loved ones, sometimes through unthinkable situations. And what I want to share with you all today, this evening, is that some of them thrived. Okay, when I say thrive, I'm not saying it was easy. And I'm saying that everyone has their moments, but some of them, anyone would look and say, okay, you figured out how to do this. Teresa, I would put you in that category. And not a category of perfection, but you figured out, understood the assignment, and found a way to answer the call. Okay, some of them thrived, and others did not. Others, it's just too much. They never learn how to ask for help, never find that balance of self-care, never find the grounding. And some slip into deep resentment or anger. It's a lot. and people are only human. What I would learn how to say and encourage people with is simply do what you can, when you can, and don't be too hard on yourself. One of the things caregiving gave me is that I learned to be an advocate, to be courageous, to speak up, to ask questions, to push back when I needed to. And there were many days when courage did not feel natural to me. I sometimes had to find it. Okay. And even to become visible or outspoken in moments when otherwise I would rather just fade into the background, just be quiet and not be the person in the front. But when it came to my loved one and they could not advocate for themselves, I had to find that. I had to find it so that I could show up. And that was a part of my care for them. And that could be stressful. All right. So let's talk a minute for what stress really is. Okay. I want to just share a little bit what stress is, because caregiving doesn't just affect the heart, it also affects the body. All right. In our brain, we have this little section in our prefrontal cortex called the amygdala. Okay. It's like a little chihuahua that's always barking, it's always alert, it's always watching for danger. The thing about the amygdala is that it is there for a very important reason, that is to register danger. Okay. The amygdala registers danger. There is an intruder, there is an imminent danger. But the only thing is that amygdala cannot tell the difference between, it can't tell the difference between a Mack truck coming at you and it's about to hit you, or somebody saying something that's going to change your quality of life or make you uncomfortable, or even something that's going to require you to come out of character a little bit and be a little bit more outspoken and courageous. The same amygdala is sounding the alarm in your body. And when the amygdala does that, it is calling for specific hormones that are in your body, emergency hormones to rise up. You may have heard of the hormone cortisol or adrenaline. And these are things that, that are the amazing human body is able to produce to rise to the occasion of an emergency if there is imminent danger. All right. The thing is, for a caregiver, the chihuahua never sleeps. It's always barking. And so the chihuahua is always asking the amygdala, what if something happens? What if I don't respond fast enough? What if I miss something? And your body thinks that you're in danger when you may just be simply overwhelmed or tired. And then there is the idea and concept of chronic stress. So stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are designed for emergencies. But in caregiving, we can sometimes find ourselves in a position where they drip constantly. It's almost like your body is constantly taking this toxic cocktail of hormones. They're not toxic in small doses, the way they're designed, but when it's a slow drip that's ongoing over a long period of time, it's chronic. It's chronic, it can produce chronic stress. And chronic stress over time can create fatigue, irritability, loss of focus, inflammation in the body, and even a weakened immune system. It's something, I don't know if you've heard of this concept called weathering, but there are these there are these scientists that have identified this condition called weathering. And the way they can identify weathering as there are these kind of little tails on the ends of cells, all right? And they are like the protective ends of your DNA. And for example, they determine your biological age by the length of the telomeres. So the longer, the better, the shorter, the not as good, okay? But they're saying that stress shortens, chronic stress causes telomeres to shorten. And this literally shapes the body, the chemistry and the physiology of the human body. And it can break down a person's resilience from the inside out, all right? So here's what I want to say, though. Since all of us may find ourselves at any given time in a position where we need to provide caregiving, and say, okay, I want to be a caregiver, but I don't want to shorten my telomeres. The fact of the matter is, we're all are going to be subject to stress. But the good news is that while caregiving can create stress, just like life can create stress, we can also build in rhythms of recovery. And that's what I have learned. We can build in rhythms of recovery. We can become more aware of and mindful of symptoms of stress and be proactive or quickly reactive so that we can recover. All right? Stress is inevitable, but recovery needs to be intentional. We can't escape stress, We can't breathe it away. We can't positive mindset it away. We can't even pray it away, honestly. But we can recover from it moment by moment, choice by choice. So I want to give you some practical recovery tools. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments, insights, anything before I move on?
I'm loving this conversation. Yes. I don't have any questions, but thank you so much for what you shared so far. I've learned some things already I did not know. I didn't know about weathering. I didn't really know that stress could shorten my life, but I knew it affected my quality of life. So I was aware of that.
Yeah. So it's the shortened telomeres. And what they're doing is they associate that stress with, remember when the pandemic hit, they said there's certain groups of people that have more comorbidities than others. They're
Yes.
more vulnerable and less able to be responsive, less able to fight back the immune system and all that. That was another term for weathering. You understand? Like right now, there is a reproductive health crisis with African American women. And they are associating that, some doctors and scientists are associating that with this idea and concept of weathering. And they're saying because after the more education and money that they make, the more vulnerable they are to this. And that's because they are swimming with and living with the sharks, because they're highly visible with all this stress or whatever, it makes a difference. Oh, Sister Bunny, I didn't see you on there. And yeah, because of that, it breaks down from the inside out. And so we got to figure out, stress is out there, y'all. We have, all of us, we have to figure out what we're going to do about it. How we're going to manage it. It's coming, it's there. Okay, so we know it's there. I don't have a choice of abandoning my loved one. So what am I going to do about it? And I'm saying there are some things that we can do about it. Thank you. There's a movie. Does anybody remember the movie, The Secret Life of Bees?
Oh yeah.
This movie was, and there was one character, and I can't remember her name, but there was one character, and she just was the heartbeat of the community. Her heart was just so open. She just cared about everybody, everything that happened. She took it on so hard. So she used to take little prayers and roll them up and put them in the wall. And she just was like, I see everything and I feel everything. And of everyone in that, I think Queen Latifah was in this movie, and I can't remember who else was in it, but they were busy as can be. Maybe Alicia Keys or somebody. I can't remember.
Yes. Alicia Keys.
It was Alicia. They were so busy working. These women were just running this household, running this. Maybe there was a farm or something, and just holding it down for the community. And they were leaders in the community. They had community meetings in their home and all this. And I don't know what that character, the particular one I'm talking about, who just seemed to have the heartbeat of the community and just her heart beat for the community. I don't think she had time to do anything else because she was just the one who cared. She was the one I see it, I feel the pain, I grieve the pain, I carry the burden, I pray for the community. I am unapologetically the one who does this in this family, okay, or in this community. I love everybody. I do all I can for everybody. I don't hold back. That was like her job, her role in the community. Was asked to give a kind of like a TED talk one time, and the title of the talk was "Who Cares?" And the point of the talk was that I was trying to inspire and encourage people that it's okay to care. I know it seems like risky business, and it seems crazy to care sometimes because there's so much that we could care about. What am I going to give my whole life just caring about people? But if we don't care, who's going to care? And Sister Brenda, what you're mentioning is so important. There's a lady in your community who reminds you of your mom. And so you care. And it's okay for you to care, even if it costs you something. It's the quality of life that if you feel that this is your responsibility and you answer that call and you rise to the occasion to care. It's a beautiful, highly respectable position to take in the community or in the family where there's a need, to find a need and to be willing to step up to the plate to meet the need. And then to find the courage and to tap into the love that it will take for you just simply to care. And these kind of times where I could spend all my time caring about myself, to find room in my heart, in my busy daily schedule, maybe reorganize my life and maybe even change my quality of life to be able to care, is a position of great honor that we take. And we can become a game changer. Sometimes in my role as a pastor, I would encounter people who literally did not have any other family. And so this is all this, we are who they have. And I might have been the person, the only person that they felt they knew personally, even there at the church. Okay. And so I would be in a position to care. A person, I'm thinking of a person right now who in the middle of night had to take her children and escape from a violent marriage, escape in the dead of night, had no place to go, no money, no job, no resources, no way out, but had to run for her life with her children and didn't know anyone else. Who cares? Sometimes it's real obvious. I don't know whose job this is, but apparently it's my assignment. And this is what happens when the needs of a loved one comes to your attention and you realize I'm actually in a position where I'm the only one that can rise to this occasion here and be here for this person, for this loved one. And so there's no time to stop and negotiate about whether or not I feel like doing. It's not a matter of what I feel like doing. It is for me to do. And that's okay. And as my mother said, most of the time, it is a finite assignment. And the opportunity for us to answer the assignment, to fulfill the assignment, and answer that call is short lived. And so to really be able to learn how to enjoy the journey is important. Let me give you some practical steps, practical recovery tools for stress. And we can do this together. Have you heard 4x4 breathing? 4x4 breathing actually really works. Research says it calms the amygdala. It can slow down your heartbeat, lower your body temperature, and it can just cause your physical body, the physiology of stress, really, you can address it. Breathing helps you to address it. So let's just try to do, it's the 4x4. What we're going to do is breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then repeat it. Okay? You all ready? All right? I'm going to count. Let's breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold it, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and then hold it, 2, 3, 4. Okay, take a breath in, breathe out. Just that right there, it calms the amygdala. It tells your body, you know what, you're safe. You're safe. You're breathing. You're safe. You're controlling your breath. You're safe. You don't have to run. You don't have to go get something to eat. You don't have to do some other stress response. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to protect yourself. Just breathe. Breathe in. Breathe out. This is the beautiful rhythm of yoga, actually. Yoga creates a crisis and then it gives you a break. And so people who practice yoga are accustomed to creating a crisis. When I say a crisis, it might be a crisis of balance or crisis of strength or crisis of endurance or whatever. If you're doing a plank or you're doing one of the positions like a tree pose, or you're holding yourself in a specific position that's a tad uncomfortable, you're creating a crisis. But yoga builds into it a rhythm of crisis relief. Crisis relief. And you get strong, you get accustomed to that until finally you begin to develop the confidence that it might be a crisis, but it's temporary. I might think I'm out of balance, but let's just see. And let's see if I can just stay balanced a little longer this time than I did the last time. And if I can't, then I'll put my foot down and I'll just relieve myself of this. But at the end of it, there's a moment of just relaxation. They call it Shavasana, where you just can relax. But you've done all this work, crisis, relief, crisis. And then at the end of it, you can just relax. This is how life can be, right? We create it, I know that there will be relief at the end of this. As my mom said, this won't last always. Or my brother said, let's just enjoy this moment. Let's enjoy this moment that we've been given here. And sometimes it's nice to enjoy the moment. You're in the middle of something. You're like, you know what? I'm doing this, actually. I'm doing this. It's not my imagination. We're moving through this. I'm doing this hard thing. And it seems like it's become a way of life for me, and I'm okay with that. Everything, every need is being met, and I'm okay. Crisis, relief, crisis, relief. It's the same thing to breathing. Breathe in, hold it. It's a crisis because at the end of that hold, I'm actually ready to exhale. Then hold it there again and think to yourself, you know what? I need air. Breathe in, but take your time for seconds. Hold it, exhale. There's something to this. If you practice, you can actually learn how to regulate your blood pressure and react to stress using breathing. It calms the amygdala.
One of
All
my
right.
friends is an art therapist, and she used to say, when you're breathing in, to think, I'm breathing in the promises of God, and I'm exhaling into the presence of God. And so I think that when I'm breathing in, I think about all his promises and that I'm resting in his presence. And it just makes me feel so good.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. I love that. And some people say, we didn't, like you said, the promise of God, and I'm releasing everything. And when we do that, you know what? All the toxic thoughts, things that are trying to trigger and wake up those call forth those hormones that we don't want. I don't really need any stress hormones. So I don't want to call those forth. So let me just, it's a calm active. And I love that, to attach it to I'm breathing in the promises of God. Okay. And I'm releasing everything that is not. Okay. That's beautiful. Something else you can do is movement. You can take a short walk. Hey, I don't know if you've ever pulled an all-nighter. Sometimes I've had to pull or just not sleep well. To this day, I sleep very light because of the time that my mom stayed with me. Yes. So you can sleep with one eye open, and you may wake up and feel tired, but you still have to get up and meet the demands of that day. Midday, you can, instead of thinking the only way that I can recover from this is to get sleep or to take a nap, you may not have the luxury or privilege of the opportunity to take a nap, but you can take a short walk, maybe even inside. But if you can get out and get some fresh air, the sun is rejuvenating, whatever those sacred pathways are for you that replenish you, whatever that is. Some people read passages of scripture. Some people might have a meditation that they'll read, or some people stretch, even things that make you happy. I'll talk about this one later, but I was going to say my grandchildren bring a tremendous amount of balance to my life. But movement, short walks, stretching, move your shoulders, just if all of this is proven scientifically to turn your hair from side, to reset the body and the nervous system. Yeah, breathing, movement, creativity. How many artists will tell you that my college roommate makes jewelry. And I asked her, I said, how did you start doing this? And she said, I was going through a period of time in my life that I was under so much stress. I needed an outlet. And she kept building on that outlet, and opportunities and training and things kept becoming available to her. She got more and more. Now she just designs this beautiful jewelry. But you can draw or cook or write or garden or organize or build something. You can, any creative act restores joy and a sense of agency. I created something. Or there's no way to do this wrong. It's an expression. So there's no way of doing wrong. The only way to do it wrong is to not do it at all. Some people like to just even do things like take care of their plants, to take the time. You've seen people cut away at those little trees. I can't remember what they call them, but sometimes people just do that. It's very calming. Let's just see if I can just carve this little tree bit by bit, a little bit each day, just a little bit. It's fun.
Bonsai, yeah.
Bonsai.
Bonsai plant. Thank you for helping with that. That's exactly right. Just the bonsai. It's just, these are ancient practices and things that help us to restore a sense of balance and groundedness and agency. Another way, we have breathing, movement, creativity. How about connection? And that's what I was saying about my grandchildren. They help me. When I'm with my grandchildren, honestly, I just have to be, I have 9 of them, and usually I at least have 4 at one time. And it's all hands. I don't have time to think of anything else. I just need to focus on them and make sure that they're all okay. And they keep me going. They keep me laughing. Okay. They keep me joyful. They keep me challenged. It's helpful. And laughter helps as well. If you have a friend, my brother, he helped us. He helped us through the toughest thing we ever had to go through. Right. A phone call from someone who knows your heart will help. And
Mhm.
sometimes making a phone call to someone that you know is going to be on the other end of that line that loves you and cares about you. They may not be able to physically come rescue you, even help you physically or financially or whatever the need is, but they love you. That phone call, that sense of connection and community, hospitality, opening your home, just the simple act, simplest things, y'all, preparing a meal for someone or even just sharing a meal with someone. I can remember a time my childhood best friend showed up at my door and she said, I have something for you. And she went into the bag. She lives in Massachusetts. She went to her bag and pulled out an avocado. I said, really? She came in, we cut the avocado, put salt and pepper, and sat there and ate that avocado. And we talked about our childhood and other, and she helped me remember some really happy, fun times. It doesn't take all of what you don't have to be Martha Stewart or B. Smith in order to have experience and share hospitality. Let's see. So we have breathing, movement, creativity, connection. How about stillness? There's a verse in the Bible that says, be still and know that I am God. Sometimes just to be still. And so for me, even sitting on the porch with my mother, as bit by bit, aspects of her personhood was slipping away. Her ability to communicate slipped away, but we would sit there and the fullness of her presence was there, even though she couldn't communicate the way she used to. And that was what I was holding on to all the way until she transitioned out of this life. But stillness, meditation, and prayer, silence, contemplation. There's something called lectio divina, where you just allow your eyes to fall on the scriptures and just let it wash over you. There's contemplative prayer. I don't know how you do it, but you can discover more and more ways to reset. It invites your system to reset. We need to create this rhythm. Remember, tension, release, the breathing. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out, hold it, breathe in, hold it. It helps your system to reset, but it helps you to engage a rhythm of recovery, right? If you pull an all-nighter, like I was saying, sometimes you sleep night, you don't have to. I know that my body I know my I have strained my body physically. This cannot be a way of life. So I've got to recover at some point. I've got to get some rest. And maybe I can't actually go to sleep, right? But I can enter into a rest, a sacred rest where I can be restored, right? The Bible says that the Lord restores our soul. I'm not sure what your faith practices are, and I'm just sharing that from my perspective and my experience. Find ways to restore your soul. When I say the soul, the mind, the will, and the emotion. And that sometimes is Teresa sitting in the car in the parking lot late at night with a friend who loves you and cares.
Yes.
Somebody who they're listening. They really are listening, and they're with you. And that'll push back against the feeling that I feel like I'm all alone sometimes. I feel like nobody. Maybe that's not actually true. Maybe you aren't all alone. You don't have to be. But we have to ask and let people know what their needs are, right? Stillness, connection, stillness. Finally, that kind of leads into this last one is ask for help and receive the help. Because you know what? We're not meant to carry everything. I think sometimes life reminds us, humbles us, and says, you know what? You can keep trying to do this by yourself if you want to, but you simply sometimes you cannot do things by yourself. And I think at some point, maybe it's a matter of maturity. We understand I really only have time in this life to do what only I can do. And everything else, anything that I can teach someone else to do, or support someone else to do, or humble myself and ask someone to do. And sometimes asking is not a matter of pride either. Sometimes I just don't want to ask because I don't want to burden someone. But you know what? You may think it's a burden, but it may give somebody else a sense of purpose. It's
Hmm.
true.
Right.
And the point I want to say is that these practices that I'm giving you, and those are the points, and I have a handout, and that's on the handout. They're not luxuries, but they are acknowledgments of your humanity. I am a human being. Okay. And so I just want to ask you quickly, what helps you to recover from stress? And you can just say it, come off of mute. We don't have too much time, so I don't want you to give lengthy answers, but just give us some quick like sound bites. What helps you to recover from stress? And also you can put it in the chat as well. What helps you to recover from stress?
I used to have a problem with going to sleep, but sleep is the best thing I can do when I've had a stressful day. I recognize that during when I'm sleeping, my body is rebuilding itself. So I've developed a really good practice now of making sure I get at least 8 hours of sleep, and that's changed everything for me.
Yeah, if you can do that's a game. Sleep is a game changer.
It
If
took me
you can
two
do
years, 2 years of working at it to get to the point where I could, but it was a non-negotiable, so I didn't let it go. I kept working at it. I'm still working at it.
okay, so I'm on that same journey, Teresa. I'm fighting for. I figured out what my chronotype is. This I wear the Aura ring, and it gives me a lot of information about sleep, and what I need to do to achieve that. And I realize it's different. So some of the things you all do to relieve stress: humor, scriptures, exercise, cleaning and organizing, and reading, and reciting scripture, and prayer. Let's see what else is in here. Embrace it as temporary. Thank you. Beautiful. That's very helpful. Thank you. All of that is very helpful. I'm just going to wrap up now, and I just want to remind you by saying, as Teresa, this is your famous quote that maybe you got it from someone else, but I always attribute it to you. But we can do hard things. I'm living proof of that, and so are you. We can do hard things, and we can do them for a prolonged period of time. The malleability of the human brain, the adaptability of the human psyche, and the resilience of the human body, and the strength of the human spirit, and the presence of God. These are the things. Community. We can find ways. We can do hard things. You've already done them. All right. And so keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep the faith, whether your faith is in God, in love, in the universe, in the sacredness of what you're doing, whatever faith you have, keep the faith. Because without it, you could easily become overwhelmed by your circumstances and your responsibilities. But we can do that. Adults, we have to adult sometime. Adults be adulting. We did this is just what life demands of us. And I'm not trying to I don't want to trivialize it in any way. Believe me, I don't. But we just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And when we look back and we say, "Ooh, my soul looks back and wonders how I got over."
Amen. Years ago, you shared something with me as we get ready to close. I'm going to bring myself on the screen. First, I want to say I'm blessed. I can't wait to watch where's this later. Okay, I can't wait to watch the replay of this. But years ago, you shared something with me that goes along with your message about the importance of tending to your own garden. Remember that when we used to have those women things,
Uh-huh.
meetings?
Matters of heart and soul.
Yes, I never thought about that before, but it goes right along with what you're saying. That you shared a story about how you love to garden, your neighbor loves to garden, but no matter how much your neighbor loves you, she's not coming over to your house to pull your weeds.
That's so
We are responsible for pulling our own weeds and taking care of our own garden. And that's what this is really all about. Finding the time and figuring out how to tend to the garden of our minds, our souls, our mind, our will, and our emotions so that in that way we're caring for our loved one without losing ourselves, which is one of the reasons why we have the Caregiver CEO. So I want to say thank you. A round of
thank you.
applause. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for always being there for me. I think we all came away with some things we did not know before.
Thank you,
Um,
Teresa.
and so I have your handout. It's already attached to the Talk Dot. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before I bring up the Talk Dot?
I just had a I wanted to do a mindful meditation in
Go ahead.
closing. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I want to invite you all to put both of your feet on the floor. Okay. I want you to sit comfortably in your seat and close your eyes. Let your shoulders soften. And take in a slow breath in and out. I want you to think of the person that you care for right now. Envision that person. Think of that person gently without pressure. Envision their face. I want to invite you to hold them in compassion, not responsibility, not in this moment. Just hold them in compassion. And now bring your focus back to your own body. I want you to feel your breath as you breathe in. Breathe out. I want you to feel your heart beating. You don't have to put your hand on your heart, but Connect yourself with the fact that your heart is beating right now, and I want you to feel the life in you. I want you to whisper to yourself, I am human. I am doing the best I can. I deserve care as much as the person I care for. Take another breath in. And as you breathe out, I want you to release any weight that is not yours to carry. Now I want you to imagine a warm light settling over your shoulders, softening tension, reminding you that you do not carry this alone. One more breath. Breathe in. Receive what you need for today: strength, peace, rest, hope. Breathe out. May your nervous system settle. May courage rise gently in you. And may you feel supported in this moment, in this community, and in the sacred work that you do. Amen.